Hello, this is Energy and Environment Weekly. I am Joycelyn Elakeche Ada. On today's episode of E&E, we take a look at fuel subsidy and Nigerians' understanding of what subsidy is. And on the environment sector, we shine our torchlight on two communities in the FCT suffering from waste dump. That will be Kubwa and Karo. And finally, we get to meet FCT's corporate keke driver. Thanks for joining us on Energy and Environment Weekly for today. In November 2022, the federal government announced its plan to phase out fuel subsidy by June 2023. This has generated mixed reactions from Nigerians. In this special report, we examine Nigerians' understanding of fuel subsidy by speaking to a cross-section of FCT residents, while Dr. Musa Yusuf, the immediate past Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, gives us a clear explanation on subsidy and benefits of its removal. The report. Nigeria, one of Africa's largest producers of crude oil, relies heavily on this resource for its economic growth. In November 2022, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Hajia Zainab Ahmed, announced the phasing out of fuel subsidy. She said fuel subsidy gulped 2.565 trillion naira between January and August of 2022, and that government can no longer sustain it. She explained that exiting subsidy will be a gradual process.
The projected fiscal outcomes in the 2023 budget is based on petroleum subsidy reform ratio, and that is to say in the 2023 framework we had assumed and the National Assembly had approved that the petroleum subsidy will remain up to the middle of 2023 based on the 18 months extension announced early in 2022.
Following this announcement, stakeholders and Nigerians have debated on the removal of fuel subsidy and its benefits. Apart from the fact that a lot of Nigerians do not understand the way subsidy operates, their biggest concerns has been on the price a litre of petrol will be sold when subsidy is phased out. A legal practitioner in the FCT, Barrister Dixon Omaye, advocated for increment in salaries for both the public and private sector. He said by doing that, the Nigerian government will be cushioning the effect of subsidy removal on its citizens.
The government is spending millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars monthly to subsidize. Now, before you remove subsidy, just do the basic thing. Review salaries, both in the public and private sector. If salaries of public and private sector is reviewed upwards, in a great deal, very well, it will help ameliorate the hardship. You can't remove subsidy without reviewing salary first, because everything, prices of commodities, transportation, and everything will skyrocket when fuel subsidy is removed. So before they even talk about removing subsidy, they must first settle the issue of salaries of Nigerians so that people can earn well. Imagine fuel price per litre is 400, 500 naira. How much will you fill your tank? How much you will spend to fill your tank?
On the side of some civil servants, they said the issue is not the removal of subsidy, but more on the availability of petroleum products and the quality of government as impartiality.
Removing fuel subsidy, if fuel is to be sold for 500 naira or 700 naira and it's available for people to buy, I don't think anything is wrong with it, because during fuel scarcity there are a lot of people that are buying fuel at the rate of 1,000 naira per litre, and yet it does not serve, because the government is subsidizing this fuel, and most of those people taking the fuel are diverting it to other countries. And it means Nigeria is subsidizing fuel not just for Nigeria but for people outside Nigeria.
Wherever you find yourself, be it in the ministry, whatever discipline you find yourself, so to say, whatever discipline you find yourself, you need to do the right thing. What are those right things? Doing things that whatever you are doing, you believe that I am doing this thing as it is demanded by the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Giving more insights into fuel subsidy policy, the immediate past Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Muda Yusuf, explained that the present landing cost of petrol is about 300 to 400 naira, but it's being sold at 184 naira to 200 naira, which means government pays the difference between the selling price and the cost price, and that's what is referred to as fuel subsidy.
Well, fuel subsidy simply means that the government, in conjunction with the oil marketers, are selling petrol at a price that is less than the cost price. Currently, for instance, the landing cost of PMS, which is petrol, is anywhere between 300 to 400 naira per liter. And the policy of government is to sell it at between 184 to 200. So that simply means that the price at which the petrol is being sold at the pump is far less than the cost of delivery of the product at the pump. So the difference between the selling price and the cost price is the subsidy that the government is providing. So in a layman's terms, that is what it means. It means that the government is selling the products at a price that is far less than the cost of the product.
He said Nigerians stand to gain immensely from the removal of subsidy, as the funds can be used for economic development.
But when we compare the pains to the benefits of the withdrawal, my position is that whatever pains it is, I think first it will be short-lived. Second, the benefits of it will far outweigh the demerits or whatever pains that will incur. Imagine, for instance, a post-subsidy scenario where the government is able to make a savings of between 6 to 7 trillion naira. That's a whole lot of savings. And these savings that will be translated into better funding of our federation accounts. All the three tiers of government share or get allocation from this federation account. That will position the government, all the three tiers of government, the federal, the states, and the local government, to have more money, to be able to provide better facilities for their citizens, to be able to pay salaries, because as we speak, many of these state governments cannot even pay salaries regularly. Many of them cannot even pay pensions. Many of them cannot even pay the meager 30,000 naira minimum wage, monthly, all because they don't have the funds. And not all of them have the capacity to generate funds internally, what you call IGR. Some of them depend almost entirely on federal allocation. So if you have more funding to the federal allocation or to the FAC account, it will benefit all these tiers of government. They'll be able to pay salaries regularly, they'll be able to pay pensioners, and they'll be able to provide a lot more facilities, like education, like health, like good roads, and so on and so forth, which will benefit everybody, including members of the labor unions. So we should look beyond the short-term pain and have, a much longer-term view or perspective of this issue. Apart from the funding, there are also opportunities that it will bring for investment. With the withdrawal of subsidy, we will see a lot more investment in our oil and gas sector. As I speak to you, many credible big investors have divested from our oil and gas sector in the upstream. Many of the oil majors have left. Now we have a situation where many other oil producing countries are making a lot of money because of the high oil price, because they have investors who can generate a lot of output. But here we are in Nigeria, we are not able to even meet our OPEC quota. So we need a lot more investment in the oil and gas sector. And the only way to make that happen is to get this subsidy out of the way.
Ahead of the planned subsidy removal, in June, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Hajia Zainab Ahmed, revealed that the federal government has secured an $800 million grant from the World Bank. She said it's targeted at 50 million vulnerable Nigerians, or 10 million households, as part of its subsidy palliative measures.
So when we're working on the 2023 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and the Appropriation Act, we made that provision to enable us exit fuel subsidy by June 2023. We're on course. We're having different stakeholder engagements. We've secured some funding from the World Bank. That is the first tranche of palliatives that will enable us give cash transfers to the most vulnerable in our society that have now been registered in a national social register. Today that register has a list of 10 million households. 10 million households is equivalent to about 50 million Nigerians. But we also have to raise more resources to enable us do more than just the cash transfers, and also in our engagements with the various stakeholders, the various kind of asks that we have go beyond the requirement of just giving cash transfers. Labour, for example, might be looking for mass transit for its members. So there are several things that we're still planning and working on. Some we can start executing quickly, some are more medium-term implementation.
Speaking on the above, Dr. Yusuf explained that palliatives don't have to be in cash form. He said there are several policy options on palliatives that can be adopted.
No, the palliatives will be there are some that are medium term, there are some that are long term. You know, first of all, the whole subsidy removal thing has to be in phases. You cannot afford to remove the entire subsidy at once. It's something that you can face over the next 1 year, for instance. That you are taking out maybe 25% per quarter. That is one. Secondly, the palliatives should not be limited only to handouts, because your concept or the concept of many people about palliatives is about giving handouts. It has to go beyond that. This is a very big country. We have 200 million population, 133 million people are in poverty. So how many people can you give handouts to? So we have to look at the policy options. And there's a whole range of policy options that are available. First, look at reduce, the demand for PMS. To reduce demand for, we should encourage more people to convert their vehicles. That is what we call auto gas. For cars, they can convert. Big trucks that are using diesel, they can also convert. For those who are using big generators, they can also convert to the use of gas. That's what we call CNG, compressed natural gas. So what government needs to do in that situation is to subsidize all the equipment that you need for that kind of conversion. The conversion is one-off. So we should make it easy, just the way we try to make it easy for people to be using cooking gas rather than kerosene or firewood. So we can promote that kind of conversion. That secondly, also use policies to encourage more investment, even in refineries, in pipelines, and in all other segments of the petroleum downstreams. You can support them with incentives like fiscal incentives
Fuel subsidy was introduced in the year 2000 by then President Olusegun Obasanjo as a form of government intervention to reduce the cost of fuel by providing direct financial support to all companies and such subsidize the price of the product to consumers. That is to say, fuel subsidy is government paying the difference between pump price and the actual cost of importing the product. Due to fuel subsidy, the amount Nigerians pay for petroleum products is lower than the international benchmark. Joycelyn Elakeche Ada for Energy and Environment Weekly. And now on the environment sector, dumping of solid waste in non-designated sites such as gutters, waterways and culverts are major causes of flood in the country. Flooding causes disruption of activities, which in turn has adverse effects on the economy. In this special report, E&E examines 2 communities in the FCT facing environmental challenges arising from waste dumping in non-designated sites. Sanitation and environmental hygiene are one of the most important factors involved in curbing the spread of diseases. It was in this regard that residents of Kubwa, a suburb in the FCT under Buhari Area Council, have called out to the government to intervene in what they describe as an environmental hazard. Residents and business owners around PW Bridge say their life and health is at risk as young men, popularly called Babambola in Hausa and translated to English as the waste man, has turned the PW Bridge into an illegal dumping site.
You cannot, no Nigerian man can do this thing in West African country around us here, even Cameroon. You cannot do this thing. But here in Nigeria, we do whatever we like because of the language. If you arrest them now, somebody will ask you, why did you arrest them? They have no father, they have no mother, but now they are destroying what government have done for us.
So if government can really do something about it by constituting a committee that will come around and monitor this place, I think it will go a long way to preserve, to give us good health, because putting waste here is a hazard to our health, to our condition, we that are living around.
Let it then put it light to say here, by the grace of God. By the grace of God, we are suffering here a lot, and nobody pursuing them. Nobody pursuing them. That is how everybody started coughing. Immediately they light it, everybody started coughing.
Speaking to residents around this area was a bit tough, as most of them wished to speak off camera. According to them, their life is at risk, as these young men have threatened them with weapons when they attempted to stop them from dumping waste in the culvert under the bridge.
Really, this place has been giving us a serious concern when we notice all these Babambola coming to drop their waste here. We have been complaining about this for long, and anytime we see them coming around, we'll try to talk to them, but they will kind of want to fight us, which we think is not the way out.
As they are coming, some of them knife within their pocket. Then before they know that you are serious to stop them to put a refuge there, you will see that they will bring knife to show you. So we are suffering a lot here. We are begging government, let government come and know what to do for this place. It's much.
Waste is dumped here on a daily basis by the Babambolas and has never been evacuated. When the rain comes, the waste is washed down the pot, which of course goes down to block another waterway. They fear that if this situation is not arrested soon, it would lead to a major environmental and health disaster.
When it rains, honestly, it's very, very bad, because when the water overflow, all this dirty get into people's compound, which is very dangerous to the health as well. So we need an attention towards this fast and quick attention so that these things can put to stop. We don't want any waste to be pouring here anymore from now on.
The smoke will full everywhere. So even to breathe itself, like I'm seeing some people who have asthma here. Their own is the worst.
Same was the case at Karu Roundabout, a suburban city under the Abuja Municipal Area Council. With its close proximity to Nasarawa State, one forgets it's actually part of the Federal Capital Territory.
The dead outside there, the thing normally, sometimes you see air, breeze will blow it up, everything will scatter, will come into our shops. Sometimes we do close our shops because of those things. And sometimes you see the odor will be so bad to the extent when customers will be coming, they will be closing their nose. Some of them will carry nose masks, some of them will carry their hands and cover their nose. So those things is affecting us very, very badly. And sometimes when they are packing it, this place is, you cannot even stand outside, you cannot even stay inside and open the door. What you do is to close the door. We do normally close the doors.
And the smell, oh my God, it's not something that we advise somebody self to even come close to, because we that are even close by, we find it it's very challenging for us because it keeps us inside. And this heat period again, coupled with the fact that there is no light, so the odor is not what we even entice customers self to even come close to buy things from us.
At this dump site, apart from the stench and smoke fumes residents and business owners have to deal with, they say it also causes major traffic jams when the waste overflows to the road, most especially when it rains.
That is when it becomes the baddest, because the odor, the smell and everything is already on us. So when it rains, the smell is very, very bad. It's too bad, to the point that people cannot even pass again. They need to start entering keke or bike to pass by. Everybody's on nose masks because of the dirt, not like any other thing, just the smell of that stuff. And imagine someone now that has health issues. Yeah, you cannot pass here now. You can't at all. So,
on the other hand, the young men known as Babambolas, ranging from the age of 11 to 20-year-olds, say they are not criminals, but only earning a living. They said they collect waste from around communities for recycling purposes.
I work normally and get money to eat food in this job. It's some few that spoil our reputation. Some of them bathe and dress well, then go to town and survey people's belongings, then come back and dress like scavengers and go back to steal from them. But we don't do that. With this job, I'm able to feed myself and also support my family every day. I'm able to make 2,000 naira or 1,000 naira. I sell the waste I get in Nyanya. Scavengers are just looking for food to eat. They buy plastics and sell to sustain themselves and take care of their family. That's just our job. But people keep saying that we are thieves. But that's not true. They all know what scavengers do. But if there are other jobs, scavengers can do them so that they can rest, because we do this job to get a daily living.
This rubber they use and do clothes, jalamier, jersey, now they use and do. If they grab this rubber finish, they go can and go to China, India. So they go use and do jersey, do fiber of motor, big motor. They call them fiber. So now so that they use this thing do. So if they want to take this, if you want to get this thing, so most of the people now they go pick up for road. So if they pick up for road, so they go scale now to buy it. I go can and go to company. To can after company, I go if they grind and finish, they go can if they grind and finish, they go can inside the bag, go to another country. I go pay this Bababola. If they scale, now scale the judge down. one sack like this sometimes go reach 70 kilo, 70 naira, 80 naira, 100 naira. I go buy 100 naira, 80 naira, 90 naira for 1 kilo. So if you reach 80 kilo, so you go calculate everything together. Okay, this one now, I want to go to Idu Industry area for Pepe.
Unfortunately for these residents in these two communities, these areas are also being used for open defecation. It is estimated by the Federal Ministry of Environment that Nigeria generates over 32 million tons of waste annually, the highest in Africa. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, reports that over 70,000 children under the age of 5 die annually from sanitation-related diseases. Poor sanitation affects the human health. It has been linked to the transmission of diarrheal diseases such as cholera, dysentery, typhoid, intestinal worm infections, and polio. It's also a major contributor to the breeding of mosquitoes, flies, and ticks. The residents of PW Bridge and Cairo Roundabout pleads with the government of the Federal Capital Territory to quickly intervene so as to avoid an environmental hazard which could lead to a major disease outbreak. Joycelyn Elakeche Ada for Energy and Environment Weekly. And now finally, on a lighter note on E&E today, there are different dressings for different occasions. Same applies with jobs. Some jobs comes with a uniform, while some comes with a certain way of dressing. Meanwhile, in some businesses like to wear not too pretty clothes. Give for instance, mechanics. They often wear all stained clothes due to the nature of their business. While people in the transportation business don't wear all stained clothes, but they certainly do not wear corporate looking clothes either, like suits or neckties. And that's what makes this encounter with this young man a special one. The young man in our next clip certainly loves to look his best in whatever trade he finds himself. And this is why E&E chose to have a chat with this man, known to many in the FCT as the corporate keke driver. It is often said that whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. This is the case with this gentleman, Yahaya Joseph John, popularly known as Corporate Keke Driver, and to some other friends, Action Joe. 29-year-old John hails from Cairo local government area in Nasarawa State. The yet-to-be unmarried young man took up transportation as a means of livelihood 8 months ago. He quickly gained fame due to his appearance while on the job. Mr. John is always corporately dressed while engaging customers along his route of Gudu, Apo Legislative, down to Apo Resettlement, Kabusa, and then Lokogoma. This is a route John has been plying practically every day of his life in the last 8 months. E&E caught up with the ever-busy corporate keke driver to have a chat with him on how he has been running his keke transportation business with the concurrent fuel scarcity and the present cash crunch. So tell me, why did you choose to drive keke? What led you to doing this business?
Actually, I sat down and I think of the business to embark on. So I pray about it. So I ask God, this is what I want to do. Show me what to do. And in the dream, I saw someone giving me a car key, but I couldn't identify what was the key all about. So after I woke up, I pray about it. Then I met with a man on the road of evangelism, just within the Zone E here, and we spoke on that day. We greeted. He asked me, where are we going? And I told him this is the area we are going for the evangelism. After that day, we left. And the next week, after the first week, the second week, I met with him again. He called me, where are you? I told him where I am.
This is not your dream anymore. This is reality
That is
now.
reality.
Okay.
After the dream, I woke up, and that week, that was when I met with the man. So the first week, I went back home, I prayed about it. The second week, he called me, where am I? And I told him where I was. And he came there. So I summoned myself courage. I said, Daddy, I need your advice. He said, my son, what can I do for you? I said, I want to embark on business, but I don't know which one. Can you help me? So he now asked me, do you have money for the business? I said no, but my spirit is telling me I need a business. I was working as a security, so I need something on my own. I want to wake up at my own time, and I want to value my own time. So he said, there are 3 businesses. 1, selling of food. 2, Uber. 3, keke.
So that was how you got your keke and you started riding. Now, there's something that I need to know. A lot of young people, they don't think of driving keke. They feel, oh, people will look down on me. It's not a business that, it's a business that people would respect one about. Why didn't you think of this? Where did the humility come from for you to say, I can do keke or I can sell food stuff?
The Bible said, whatever your hand find doing, do it with all of your heart. Anything you can do to help yourself, do it with the whole of your heart, and there is blessing attached to it. It doesn't matter whether you are selling pure water. If you know what you are doing, you still make it in that pure water business.
You are known for the corporate keke driver.
Yes.
At what point during this business did you say to yourself, I'm going to be looking very responsible, I'm going to dress properly, I'm going to look presentable? At what point, and what motivated you to start dressing like this?
Actually, when I was working as a security, I don't look down myself. I dress very neat. Most of my parents that bring children to school, they were so happy. I'm quite different from other security outside there. So I make myself presentable, because I don't want somebody to look down on me. So I should appear in a way that you don't look down on me.
And I truly agree with that. Now, how long have you been into the keke business? Do people feel that, this one that is looking so corporate, he might charge me too much? Have you ever encountered something like that?
Yeah. At times, when I park in, like the way I park now, I will be inside the keke. And people will be passing, looking at me. In fact, there was a day in this fish market, a woman wanted to call keke, and she saw the way I dress. She stood there and be looking at me. The next thing, she burst into laughing, and she asked me, say, "Oga, are you going?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." "Where are you going?" She says, "I'm going TV," and I helped her put all her luggage inside. As we were going, she said, "I hope you not charge me." I said, "Don't worry, I'm not expensive."
Okay, let's talk about the other challenges that recently cropped up. That's speaking about the constant fuel scarcity and coupled with the cash crunch. How has this affected your business?
From the beginning, when it was so severe, I patronized black market people. The scarcity of fuel, I make sure I don't disappoint my customers. If I can't get from the filling station, I make sure I get from the black market.
Now, with the cash crunch, the fact that a lot of people don't have cash to pay, how do you manage?
Wow, it has been absolutely awesome. Because other keke driver ask me, how do you survive? I have an account. Oga, do you receive transfer? Yes. As we are going, do the transfer before we get to where we are going. Before we get there, I receive my alert. So mostly at time I will close at the end of the day without a cash, but with money inside my account. I have nothing to lose.
We were able to speak to some dedicated customers of John, and they all had nothing but praises of him.
The keke driver, I've known him for 2 years plus, and I've been using him always because it's affordable. And the reason why I like using him is that I send him to places because of his appearances. He's always neat, he's always corporate. So I love using him always, sending him on errands, and his prices are very, very affordable.
Okay, let me just say, him as a guy, he's humble. Like, you can always trust him. Like, anytime you call him, he draws people attention the way he is. Yes. And I can see that he's always he's clean, and let me say he's just humble to the core. Not like other people that doesn't tolerate, but him, he tolerates anything that comes to his way.
Where are you going? Come in. Yes, I accept the transfer. Roundabout. No, I'm not going to roundabout.
We all know that looking good is good business. And that's the logic Yahaya Joseph John has applied to his business. Joycelyn Elakeche Ada, Energy and Environment Weekly. And that's our package on Energy and Environment Weekly for today. Join us next week as we bring you new details, updates on the energy and environment sector. I am Joycelyn Elakeche Ada. Bye for now.